You got an extra one? Yeah, I don't.
I need it.
No, I just wanted to.
Good evening. It is October 25th at 7:30. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Norwalk Common Council. If you'll please rise and join me in pledging allegiance to our nation's flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Dixon, if you'll please call the roll.
Mr. Burnett,
Present.
Mr. Goldstein. Here. Ms. Johnson,
Present.
Ms. Najilski Eichner,
Present.
Ms. Smith. Here. Ms. Ayers. Here. Mr. Uvelman,
Present.
Ms. Revoluz. Ms. Young. Mr. Kites,
Here.
Ms. McMurr,
Present.
Ms. Alterman, Mr. Meek, Ms. Revoluz, Ms. Young, Ms. Alterman.
You didn't get to eat.
Oh, my goodness.
Those two.
Mr. Meek,
No.
Mr. Livingston,
Here.
Ms. Shanahan.
Here.
My apologies.
That's okay.
So we have 11. We have a quorum.
11 present, we have a quorum. Thank you. First item on the agenda, acceptance of the minutes of the regular meeting of October 11, 2022. Do I have a motion? Ms. Shanahan. Any omissions, deletions, additions, corrections? I don't see anybody on the Zoom with it.
Mr. Meeks.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the minutes as submitted? Opposed? Abstentions? Ms. McMurr abstains. Next, we have public participation. Mr. Manzi, do we have anybody? Oh, and I see Mr. Meek is here. I don't know if you counted him, Ms. Dixon.
No, without that, Mr. Meek.
Okay, so Mr. Meek is here.
So we have 12.
We have 12. Mr. Manzi, do we have anybody wishing to address the council?
I don't believe so, Mayor. If you'd like to address the council, please raise your hand electronically now and I will unmute you.
Okay, seeing none, we will close public participation. Next item on the agenda, resignations and appointments. For appointments, the first appointment is Melody D'Alessandro to the Commission on the Status of Women. Mr. Burnett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move the appointment to the Commission on the Status of Women. I've worked with Melanie on with the emergency response team. And Melanie has a super great background. She has a master's with a concentration in health equity, social justice, and human rights, and a rich history and experience as it relates to understanding principles and framework that directly affect health equity and social justice and human rights. When I discussed with Melanie what she wanted to bring to the table in this appointment, there were two things that stood out. One, develop a survey tool to gather statistics on the condition of women in our community. And two, to develop programs that inspire women to utilize their capabilities and assume leadership roles. And Melanie is actually in the audience tonight and would like to say a few words after, I guess, I'll vote.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Burnett. Mr. Burnett moves the item. Any other comments? Ms. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I had the pleasure of meeting Melody just recently as we were working to put signs together for a candidate that we both support. And I was just so struck by her intelligence and poise, her commitment to social justice, and her eagerness to get involved. And I would just like to very much welcome you and thank you for your commitment to serving.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Any further comments? I must say I'm impressed with your resume and what Mr. Burnett just advised us. I think it's a perfect fit, and I certainly appreciate the fact that you're willing to serve. So all in favor of the appointment? I keep reading. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Would like to come down.
So good evening, Mr. Mayor, Common Council. I would like to extend my gratitude to you all for this nomination and the opportunity to serve my city. I am fully committed to identifying and working to eliminate inequities in practices and conditions that affect women in the city. I look forward to working with my fellow commissioners on the promotion of gender equality and the empowerment of women. Together, I know we will provide a permanent and effective voice for all women across the city of Norwalk. Thank you again for this honor.
Thank you. And if you'll make arrangements with Ms. Dixon, you can come to the office and have the oath of office administered.
Perfect. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the appointment of Joan McNeil to the Board of Health. Do I have a motion? Ms. Smith.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to move the appointment of Joan McNeil. Joan has a long history in nursing as a nurse practitioner, a senior staff nurse at hospitals such as Yale New Haven, New York Presbyterian, and NYU Langone Medical Center. She has been practicing since 1991 and has a very impressive resume. And I am pleased to move her appointment and also thank her for stepping up.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Congratulations to Ms. McNeil and thanking her for her willingness to serve as well. Next item, Mayor's remarks. Just a couple short ones. This past weekend, we, for the first time in quite a while, we hung a new plaque on the Heritage Wall. And it was for the Jamaican community who have a relatively large community here in the city of Norwalk and who have brought their skills with them to help our economy and to have their children attend our schools. And we are very, very pleased. And the flag is now flying at the flagpole at the Heritage Park. So if you haven't seen Heritage Park, you really should go over there and take a few minutes to look at it and look at all the different plaques that are there representing the diverse community that we have here in Norwalk. It's quite impressive, and it goes all the way back to then Mayor Thomas O'Connor. I guess he was a teacher at Ponus Ridge, a history teacher, served two years in the mayor's seat, and this was his dream, and he made it come true, and so it's really great. The other thing, yesterday began the celebration of Diwali for the Sikh community. I'm sorry. Okay. Somebody's talking through the ceiling there.
It's pronounced Diwali. I think that's what they were saying.
Okay, I have it here. They spelled it out phonetically, and it's according to this is Duhvalee. So if I've mispronounced it, I apologize, but I say Diwali or Diwali, whatever is appropriate. It's a celebration, a festival of lights. It's the largest celebration in India, and it celebrates the light over good over evil, knowledge over ignorance, and hope over despair. So all those who are celebrating Diwali, I wish them a happy celebration. Now we're really kind of excited, and I think most of the council members probably have gotten an invitation. We will be opening our Business Development Center at 3 Belden Avenue coming next week. There may be a slight change in the day, but we have to figure that out. It's going to be a one-stop shop for people who are wanting to open their business or get resources for their business, helping them so that they can flourish. And just another indication that Norwalk is a small business friendly community and a and a business-friendly community, but we want to be here to be able to help anybody who may need assistance. We'll be able to, the services will be financial education guidance, loan or grant application assistance, technical support for local, state, and federal permitting and licensing. I really want to thank our economic development team, Jess Vanashek and Sabrina Church, and of course, redevelopment agency, Brian Bedoli. This is going to be something I hope that many people will take advantage of. And last but not least, I want to wish all our children and some adults a safe and happy Halloween. Thank you. And now I'll turn it over to you, Mr. Yes, well, last night, most of you had an opportunity to meet our new DEI officer, Latoya Fernandez. I think you were quite pleased with what you heard. She brings with her a wealth of experience, and this is something that it did take a little bit longer than we expected to get the DEI officer on board, but there are a variety of reasons for that. And some of them were, the applications came in, the applications went out. We had to vet some of the applications to make sure that they met the minimum qualifications. But I think you'll be pleased now that she's on board and she's ready to hit the ground running on November 1st. Okay, thank you. Ms. Ayers. Oh, yes, I'm.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On behalf of, as the mayor said, we were able to meet I can say her name, right? Ms. Fernandez, last night. And on behalf of the council, we welcome her and really are excited on the work that she is preparing to do here in our great city. I wanted to take the opportunity to not only address my colleagues on the council, but the city. And as we forge forward in this work, there has been much conversation. There has been much comment on the work of the DEI officer, as well as the work of a commission that will soon be formed. Before I go any further, I need to acknowledge my colleague, Councilperson Dominique Johnson, as the chair of the Community Service, for her steadfast leadership, as well as the entire Community Service Committee. I also would like to acknowledge the Community Service Department of the city, who really spearhead this initiative and walked us through it. As a woman of color, it's days like this that makes me rejoice to know that as a city, we understand that we've had some missteps and some bloopers and some historical things that have impacted our most vulnerable citizens. But when we decided to hire a person to help us forge ahead, the city of Norwalk has, one, become a leader in our state in the fact that we are acknowledging that as we go ahead, we need to be mindful of not only people's race, but also people's ability, and that we need help to make sure that as we go forward, we are doing the best for all of our cities. So I applaud the city, I applaud my fellow colleagues for acknowledging the help, that we needed help and to extend ourselves to do this. There has been much conversation on social media platforms about this position. And what I want to just remind everybody is that we have valleys to cross, hills to climb, and oceans to swim through. But that doesn't mean that we are not committed to the work. We must understand that the position of a DEI is not a Band-Aid, but it is a person to help us forge through and organize and address the needs of the work that needs to happen on a daily basis. We need to extend grace. We need to understand that we need to partner, not critique. We need to lift up, and we need to have an open mindset going forward so that the work that has to be done can be done with a collective mindset, and not I and you, but us, as we are a city of a diverse background. I am very elated. I thank my colleagues for supporting this initiative, and I thank the mayor for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you, Ms. Ayers. Well said. And if I remember correctly, I think you might have been the first person to mention the need for DEI.
She was.
You don't tell people that.
Be something you should be proud of.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Now, Mr. Livingston,
Thank
I
you.
believe, anybody else? I don't see any other hands raised. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Tonight, the consent calendar will be read by Mr. Woolman.
Thank you, Mr. President. The consent calendar for October 25th, 2022. 7, Common Council Committees. 7A, Finance and Claims Committee. 7A1, for informational purposes only, report of the Claims Committee dated October 2022. Number 2, for informational purposes only, narrative on tax collections dated October 11th, 2022. Number 3, for informational purposes only, monthly tax collectors report dated September 2022. Number 4A, resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of $195,000 to increase the appropriation to fund the Fire Station 5 roof replacement account noted. The $195,000 of bonds or notes of the city shall be issued in accordance with the provisions and terms set forth in the original bond resolutions that authorize the issuance of bonds or notes of the city for project number 09231110-5777-C0796, Fire Station 5 roof replacement. Item 5A, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to enter into agreement with Adashi Systems LLC, the incident command software for fire trucks, amount not to exceed $31,130 annually. Capital project account noted. Fire truck technology upgrade. Item 5B, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, for one-time purchase of tough books, modems, and assorted hardwares with Telepro, NASPO, National Association of State Procurement Officials, State of Connecticut contract number 15PSX0221 for fire truck technology upgrade with amount not to exceed $90,925. Capital project account noted. Fire truck technology upgrade. Item C, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to submit an application to the State of Connecticut Department of Energy Services and Public Protection Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security Grant for the Emergency Management Performance Grant, which is approximately $75,000. B, Recreation, Parks, Cultural Affairs. Number 1, authorize the purchasing agent to issue a purchase order to M.E. O'Brien and Sons for the Kendall School playground renovations off the Connecticut State Pricing Contract number 17PSX0081 in the amount not to exceed $163,209 from ARPA account noted. Item, C, Community Services Committee. C1, authorize the mayor, Harry W. Rilling, to execute any and all agreements, documents, instruments, or amendments as may be necessary to implement VEOCI's VOCI software and the services described in the relevant order from order form, which is attached as Schedule D for Health and Human Services Departments for a term of 1 year in the amount of $53,639. First year total. ARPA account noted. And that is the consent calendar for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Hoopelman. I will now call for a vote on the calendar as read. All in favor, indicate by raising your hand. Any opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Back to you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Livingston. Mr. Burnett, item number 7A or B.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Item 7A4B reads as follows: resolution requesting a special capital appropriation in the amount of $25,000 to increase the appropriation to fund the fire vehicles account as noted to purchase 3 new vehicles. The $25,000 of bonds or notes of the city shall be issued in accordance with the provisions and terms set forth in the original bond resolutions that authorize the issuance of bonds or notes of the city for project as noted fire vehicles. This particular, and I'll just briefly
Mr. Burnett.
speak to this. The original appropriation was $75,000 for this capital item. Adding the additional $25,000 will provide the necessary funding for the city to move forward to purchase the 3 vehicles. These will be gas-powered vehicles, and it's pretty straightforward. I believe there might be some commentary as it relates to that.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Further discussion or comment? Ms. Nadjelski-Eichner? You're muted.
My apologies, just very briefly, I certainly support the fire department. But I very much look forward to the plan coming, hopefully, that will allow us to electrify our fleet over the next few years. And I will look forward to supporting further purchases of vehicles once we have a plan in place for electric. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comment or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of item 7A4B?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ms. Nadjelski-Eichner is opposed and everybody else voted in favor. I think that's the agenda. Mr. Revelous?
Aye. Motion to adjourn?
Oh, yeah. Motion to
Sorry.
adjourn by Ms.
I'm so sorry.
Revelous.
I didn't even mean to say aye. I just said the wrong thing, but motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? It is 7:51. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for your time.